Go ahead, Shanee.
Hi guys. If you are not aware, this is a Save Continue podcast where each and every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related topics.
Yes.
I'm Shanee Howard. This is Ryan Robinson.
That is me, yes, correct.
Tommy's not here, we've kicked him out of the group.
Yeah. Actually, Tom is on a week-long luxurious cruise to Jamaica.
He's gonna do a backflip off the front of the boat. I'm pretty excited
That
about
sounds
it.
really cool.
No, he's gonna survive.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I want to show you guys something. Hold on. I forgot. I want to show you guys something.
What?
So I got this week. It's a sample of the Last of Us 2 soundtrack on vinyl cassette. So it's got 2 tracks on the disc. It's got Little Sadie and The Last of Us Cycles. There are 2, so it's 1 song per track. I'm sorry, 1 song per side. And I want to show you guys what this looks like because I'm kind of really excited about this, and I'm really excited for the full soundtrack to come out.
Oh, nice.
So it's a short little baby disc.
Oh, you're not gonna wear gloves?
No, I'm alright. So side A and side B. I thought it looked really cool. I like the colors on it. This is actually the first record that I've ever owned that is played at 45 rotations per minute. So, I mean, that's interesting to me. But yeah, so it's just a little sample of the Last of Us 2 soundtrack. I'm hoping that they press the full soundtrack to vinyl when the game actually comes out. But yeah, I got it from some place called Mondo. Mondo, I guess it's just called Mondo, I don't know, I guess that's the whole name. But they do a lot of like video game related merchandise.
Nice.
Like I looked on their catalog after I ordered this, and they do a lot of stuff like, they had the God of War, they're the ones who distribute the God of War soundtrack. And they did some other stuff too. So yeah, it's really neat. And also I found out these guys are based out of Austin. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, which is insane to me because while I like this little thing, it cost me about $16. What's insane to me about it is these people are based in Austin. We are in San Antonio, which is about an hour and a half away. And it took forever to get to me. I have friends online who have also ordered this, who got it a lot sooner than I did.
Oh, well, they just don't like you.
Sure.
Because they're like, oh, San Antonio.
Sure.
Like,
I'm intimately aware of the attitude Austinites have towards San Antonians. So, but yeah, that's something that I got. I've been reading not reading. I don't read books, but I have been listening to the Witcher audiobooks.
what are those?
They are well.
Well, are the books good or is the voice acting good?
I think it's both. So the first 2 books in the series are a collection of short stories. Mm-hmm. So I got through that first collection, and it was quite excellent. And I'm currently working through the second one. Yeah, so the stories themselves are good. They're very engaging. There's a lot of really cool imagery in the books, but also the narration is like it's really neat because
is it one person doing all the narration?
It's just one person, and the cool thing about it is that so sometimes you have narrators who will change their voices ever slightly just to kind of denote that you're listening to a different character speak. But this guy, I wish I could remember his name, but this guy, he reads, like as he's reading, like every voice is different, like they're indistinguishable from one another, and it's almost like there's more than one person in the room with him, and it's really cool hearing him like do every character. And like if it were me, I would only be able to think of so many voices to do for each character, but he found a way to and put a lot of personality into like even the most minor characters.
Which is the book? Because The Last Wish.
The Last Wish is the first collection of short stories, and now I'm on the Sword of Destiny.
Because it says on the audiobook for The Last Wish, it had multiple people working on it.
Well, in the beginning, I don't know if there's a different version than the one I'm listening to on Audible, but the narration, the only one person is credited. So.
Yeah, that's kind of weird because I like when fantasy books are particularly are done with multiple voice actors. Like I like Dune a lot for that reason, and a couple other ones as far as that goes. Just because when a lot of the fantasy books I read or listen to that have one narrator that does different accents for them.
Yeah, and that's basically what this is.
Those accents will change.
Yeah.
And like if you listen to like I think I could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the one who does is Roy Dotrice that does Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And what Daenerys sounded like in the first book is not what she sounds like now.
Yeah.
And same with like Arya. It's mainly the females that he's like really inconsistent on what they're going to be sounding like. Which
so it's a male narrator doing female voices.
Yeah, and those are the ones I noticed the most. I think Davos is pretty egregious as well. I don't necessarily mind if it's just like a one book series, but like if it's like multiple, I notice that there tends to be a lot of changes.
Yeah, so then that's really the only time when I really notice it is when he's doing voicing the women. But yeah, it's the only time I've actually listened to a audiobook where there was multiple actors was when I listened to World War Z like 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it good? Like, was it voice acted well?
Yeah, it was really cool. They had like for each entry, or for each interview, they got a different actor, and I thought that was really neat. But yeah, I've been wanting to listen to all the Witcher books before I actually played the games, because I wanted for the first time to like. Sorry guys, that's my dog is being unreasonable, but. Usually when I like play a game or watch a movie based on like an existing work, like
Shanee.
Hey Cinnamon.
Can you like not?
Yeah, please. Usually when I listen to or usually when I play a game that's based on books or watch a movie based on those books, like my first introduction to those characters is in that work. But I thought it would be cool to like be playing the Witcher games and be like, oh hey, I recognize that person from the books, and so I actually wanted to have that moment because I'm sure other people who have played the Witcher games over the past 10 years have had those moments, and I thought I would like to have that as well. Also, this narrator's Geralt voice is better than the game Geralt voice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, like I read quite a few of the World of Warcraft books.
Yeah.
And similar thing. After I read them, like playing the games and coming across them was a really fun thing. It's also like I don't know. It's also like I think the part of the fun of reading books and stuff before TV shows and movies, because of course there's downsides. Everyone's like, oh, like because you're just straight comparative. But it's always really nice to see like a different version of a character that you already know.
Yeah.
And see what their adaptation and opinion of what that character is like ends up being. I just think it's really interesting.
You see, and the funny thing for me is if you show me if someone shows me their interpretation of the character, like if I see it in a movie or what have you, then the interpretation that I had for that character is completely erased and just replaced by whatever I just saw.
Oh, I mean, sometimes that happens, but mainly happens with characters I didn't really necessarily feel strongly about.
Yeah.
And if their adaptation can make me feel strongly about that character, then I love it. Like, the first time I read the Harry Potter books, I didn't really have many thoughts about Neville Longbottom, but then watching the movies, it made me care about Neville more and see him in more dimensions, seeing him as an actual person.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of problems with those movies comparative to the books if you're gonna do source material, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I see what you mean. But normally, if I have strong feelings, like Hermione and Luna Lovegood, as far as that series goes, I still can differentiate my first opinions and thoughts about them versus the TV show.
Yeah.
Not TV show, movies.
Yeah, and And the only thing that I'm not looking forward to, because after I finish all the books, I'm going to go through and actually play the games, and like I think I will lament the fact that I like Geralt more than I like game Geralt at this point. He just seems cooler in the books, and he seems like the thing about Witchers is that they're not human, and like one of the byproducts of their mutation, and that makes them more effective at their jobs, is that their emotions are turned like way down to zero, or like really, or, like muted, like muted like really really heavily, so that like that doesn't get in the way. But like
no, I played Witcher 3.
And the thing is that like there is the way that Geralt is narrated in those books makes him seem more well-rounded and fleshed out than the games actually do.
Oh, I feel like that this lends itself to the book medium. The fact that you can listen to their thoughts and then read their actions rather than seeing it, so you have that time to process it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot, like, you can feel the meaning in actions more because you're reading it and have your own mental stimuli and mental picture for it, other than just having it rendered where you can overlook something because there's a lot of stimuli. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I feel like this, like, obviously the book medium lends itself better to understanding characters and their motives better, especially main characters.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, playing some Dead Cells again. Mm-hmm.
You gonna write a review for it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, I remember back when that game was in early access, I did check it out on Dead Cells.
You did.
And the game it's not like the basic setup of. Yeah, they've added so much to version 1.0 in Dead Cells that like it feels almost like not a completely different game, but it feels like a fresh experience.
I felt that way with Darkest Dungeon, like when I first played it versus what it is now, because I mean there's only like 5 or 6 heroes you could have at that time, and now there's like a fuck ton of them. And also just a lot of dynamics and like how torches work, and then all the new creatures.
Well, how did torches work before?
They didn't get the same bonuses, so they give now. As far as like benefits and things like that. Like from the very first time I played it, which I think I talked about it, 2015 with you guys?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it was one of my first check it outs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that versus trying it again now, and like reading like about all these different characters, I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Too much. This is. It's the basis of the same game, but now you have to worry about a lot more things.
Yeah.
And I'm just not, like, I already had a lot to worry about, and I liked that level of it.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, I can't get back into this. I'm never gonna complete Darkest Dungeon. I'm never, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna give my time to it again.
The funny thing about Darkest Dungeon is that the game is about the gameplay aspect of it is like about so many different things, but one of the components of it is managing the stress and anxiety of those characters. And like, if you are someone who is already feeling anxious while playing the game, like, so you have to keep your own anxiety in check while also managing the anxiety of these characters.
Yeah, I always would pick to help alleviate it on myself. Like, I would always have one character that I was just trying, that I was just like, it's okay if you go insane. As long as you don't kill these other guys. It's okay if you get, like, these levels. I'm going to spend my time and resources on these other ones. And normally it was just, like, some sort of, like, DPS role or something like that. Yeah. Something that, like, or depending on the dungeon, something that they weren't, like, as important as the rest of them. I just had I had the 3 mains, and then the one that was like, you can fuck off. Yeah. And that helped a lot for me. I don't think that method would probably work as well, considering last time I replayed it and all the things that are going for it. But in the beginning, I definitely had characters, I was like, you can die. I'm not going to spend time with Sanatorium. I'm not going to spend time with that. Those are the ones I would make, like, open up all the things and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's fine. You are the bait. You are the lamb to slaughter.
If you guys don't know what Darkest Dungeon is, you should definitely look it up, but the basic premise of the game is you are a descendant who has inherited this manor, this cursed estate, and you are the end goal is to conquer the titular darkest dungeon.
The dankest dungeon.
Yeah, it's the darkest, dankest dungeon, and it takes a different perspective to the idea of dungeon exploration that I think a lot of other, like most other RPGs don't really address, like, which is like this stress and the trauma that would come with fighting monsters, especially the ones that are as nightmarish as the ones that are in this game.
It's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
The voice acting in it, I think I said in my review, is amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
It fits the tone and the mood so well.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say I never will. I probably might play a couple rounds, but I don't think I'm ever gonna beat it.
Yeah.
But I should probably just take it off my list because it's just cluttering it up. And if I'm gonna spend time playing a random Steam game, it's probably not gonna be that.
Well, I guess that would be a good segue into what I wanted to talk about today. So, it is very often that I will stop playing a game partway through, and surprisingly enough, it is very rarely because the game is bad. It's usually for any number of things. So, Darkest Dungeon. That game is excellent. It's very well made. It's art style is great. The music is awesome. The narration, everything about that game is something that I would love, right? And when I'm playing it and I'm progressing through a good clip, I love it. Like when you finally get that perfect, when you have that good group setup, you could have up to 4 people in your group. And when you have that perfect setup and everybody's positioned in just the right way for you guys to get like a good combat rotation, and you're just going through the dungeons, it feels really good. But that game, goddamn, that game is hard.
It is.
That game is really hard.
And it's not that even like the combat hard. It's just managing. It's just a management problem. If you don't like RTSs. You probably won't like this because there is a lot of management aspects as far as their health.
Yeah.
They'll be put under curses, your money, the armors, the stress factors. What we talked about. Because if they have too much stress, they either go insane or they do like a champion mode where like something good happens.
And I still don't have a firm grasp on like what determines which way that goes.
Oh, I think it's random.
Okay. But the game.
It used to be random. I don't know now if things change.
I
the
think
beginning it was random.
There's some dice roll that comes into play, but so the combat is all turn-based, and it's there's not like it's not an issue of reflexes or dexterity. It's just it's planned like much in the same way as of like a game like chess. Like it's planning ahead and thinking about what your opponent might do, and kind of trying to make contingencies for that. But the game is so relentless and brutal about.
It's unforgiving for sure.
It will throw all it takes is the game will throw curveballs at you, the game will throw curveballs at you at like an irregular rate, and all it takes it just takes one bad turn to just like ruin the entire run. Because one bad turn can just have like a domino effect. Like now this person is insane. Now this person is dead. Now this person is bleeding out, and just like everything can fall apart really easily. And then you have to. Then it gets to the point where if the run is going so badly, do you press on or do you retreat and have put that stress on your heroes and then have to try to kind of figure out how to salvage it?
Yeah, it's one of those games where you don't get attached to your characters that you're playing with because they're gonna die.
Yeah.
They're going to, like, especially people that get upset when their like first character dies. I'm just like, oh, honey, no, that's your own fault for caring about them. You should have stopped that.
See, with Darkest Dungeon and other games that aren't of the same type, but I have this thing where things have to go. Darkest Dungeon isn't the right game for me for this reason, because things have to go just right, or I'm reloading a save. Like, for example, Darkest Dungeon, I go into a dungeon and then, like, let's say, one of my guys dies, and I'm just like, I can't accept that. Maybe I need to reload or something.
Res.
Or or similar things like if a game has like a stealth section, and if I don't go through perfect stealth, I'm like, let me reload that and try again. But Darkest Dungeon is not the game for that. But the game, like I said, the game is really, really hard, and especially when we're talking about like boss fights are particularly brutal because most of the bosses have they usually have ads that like they'll summon minions or something.
Or they incapacitate your players, or they rejuvenate,
yeah.
or all three in one fucking move.
Yeah, some bosses can actually take control of one of your character's minds, and then you find yourself hurting that character. And
and of course it's always the character that you have buffed out.
Yeah.
This is the perfect character for this boss. It's gonna do great. And then all those things that you've set up, you're like, I'm killing my own guys with this character, and I can't fucking stop it because these three nincompoops can't do shit about it. I gotta wait it out.
There's a part there's a point in the game when the manor is attacked by a group of bandits, and like the bandit leader is just insanely strong, and he has backup, and he has like these super damaging special moves, and it was a point where like I don't fault the game for that at all, but it was a point where it's like I can't get past this. I can't. And like, granted, like it is the game position it to you like it's optional. Like the game encourages you to fight him. It's like, hey, but you don't have to fight him. But this is all the insanely bad stuff that will happen if you just let him have free reign. And it's just like,
I mean, you just got this manor. It's your manor. You're not gonna let raiders take it.
Yeah, and and I've never actually made it to the Darkest Dungeon. I've talked to people who have finished that game, and I'm just like, how?
I have not met anybody who's finished it. Everyone I know has not gotten to the Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, and I'm just like, people like
Is it dank?
I don't know. I've never been there, but
did they say it was?
They didn't use the word dank to describe it. No.
But I don't think they wouldn't to it then. I think they're lying.
There's a double-edged sword to it for me because like I want to see that part of the game, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. And that sucks because the game does have a mode where you can kind of reduce the difficulty.
Yep.
But it's still really hard. I don't know. It's so like that game. I think that the game is great.
But you're not gonna finish it.
And
that's okay.
And I do have moments where I'm just like, maybe I'll
pick it back up.
And then I do, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I uninstall it again.
I know, it's like, oh, this is so fun, and then like one dungeon just decimates all the hard work you've put in for the last 6 hours.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, fuck me, right?
Well, it's funny because the risk of that happening is supposed to be part of the fun, and I totally get that.
Oh yeah, but it's also like it can be really disheartening. It can.
Yeah.
It totally can. Like I have to like try to detach myself while still being involved with it, because I just like it can be really disheartening. So I may dabble in that game sometime, but I'm never gonna finish it, and it's not gonna be.
What game were you playing when you started this Kingdom Hearts endeavor? Oh, she also might have pulled a muscle. I don't know.
So when I started playing Kingdom Hearts, or when I started this Kingdom Hearts endeavor, I was playing Persona 5, and I finished that, and then I was playing New Game Plus, and then I was like, well, this is a lot less fun with New Game Plus, so I'm just gonna go play Kingdom Hearts forever.
So did you stop
for a year? For a year.
Did you stop playing another game to start Persona?
I feel like I was. Because before it might have been. It had to be before. I think I was playing Birth by Sleep. Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm playing Birth by Sleep now. I can't any other B's. I'm just like Birth by Sleep.
Did you finish Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild. I did the main story. I didn't do all the Korok seeds and all that shit because no sir.
Yeah. I feel like the only motivation for me to do something like that would be if there's a trophy or achievement involved.
There is, and also you get like cool stuff.
Okay.
But I just like a lot of them were pretty difficult for me, so I just like, you know what, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I already beat the game. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I did Super Mario Odyssey and I beat that game. I haven't gone to the darkest side of the moon, but I'm okay with that. And then Persona, and then Kingdom Hearts were the big games. I played a lot of Atomies during that, different mobile games, and other games here or there. But as far as like just playing through and planning to beat them and complete them, was Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Persona, and now Kingdom Hearts.
So the last game that I've actually completed, I think the last game that I actually played all the way through was probably Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. And the funny thing is, like, I stopped playing something else to play that, and so
what were you playing before that?
Shit. I think no, because that game came out later. No, I think I was playing Prey. I was playing Prey. So Prey, I haven't finished. I actually just recently reinstalled it because, like, I'm like, I spent $50 on this game. I should probably actually finish it. So like, but yeah, like there are times where like I'll go through my backlog, and then I'll just be like, look at all these games that I haven't played. Like, I'll go through my Steam library. I'll be like, look at all these games that I haven't played or finished or maybe even started. I bought them and just never started them. And I think having the access to like my Humble Bundle monthly subscription has kind of exacerbated that a bit.
Do you think maybe you should cancel it? Not forever, but a short period.
No,
give yourself a respite.
And that's the thing too, is that like if I'm gonna do that, and that'll be the month that they give me a free game that I really want.
Or you think you really want because you don't have it.
Yeah, that's true too. That could be true too. But like I'll see, like, for example, in September we're getting
Spider-Man.
We're getting Spider-Man next month, and like I'm thinking of any number of games I could be playing through right now before then, but there's no game that I'm actually going to finish because, for one, I can't remember what I was playing at the time, like a few weeks ago, but like No Man's Sky Next came out, and I just dropped whatever I was doing, and I just spent all this time with that, and like I could try to maybe knock out one of my other games before then, but I know that what's going to happen is I'll be playing it and I'll be like, maybe play a little bit of No Man's Sky, and then like go back to that, and it just these games like keep coming out and piling up, and so a lot of my games that I buy now I have digitally, so they're not like taking up space in like a physical sense, but I have all these like physical games that I've bought that are like literally taking up space that I have never finished, and again, it's never because they were bad. Well, not every time.
But generally, generally it's not because they're bad.
Yeah, I have bought games that I ended up hating, but it doesn't happen as often anymore because I make more informed purchases than I used to. But yeah, I have all these games that I buy and spend like. I looked at my Steam library. Like there are like multiple avenues that you can go through to like calculate the I guess the monetary value of of your games in your Steam library, and it also calculates like it also puts games that you received as gifts in that total. And
probably ones that you bought on sale as well.
Yeah, but it goes by like the regular price of the game. And like my Steam library, there's like over $5,000 of games in there in that library. And if I had to put a percentage on it or like a dollar amount on it, I probably only played $200 worth of games in that library.
200?
I don't think that I've played that many because it's very often that I'll go back to games that I've already played. Like I was just playing Doom the other day. I played Doom like a million times already.
Yeah, I mean, I've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 a billion times.
Yeah.
And replayed those.
But you were doing that as part of like a project to like refresh yourself before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, though.
Yeah, and it was also just because like there's so many of them, and I don't remember a lot of the lore. And then I started listening to a Kingdom Hearts podcast, and that literally was like the catalyst. Like, well, I'm listening to this, so I have to play all the games now.
Yeah.
And now I am way past what they're talking about. And I even started listening to a different podcast, and they were like ahead of where I was, and now I'm way past them as well.
Yeah.
No, but so before all these games come out, is there anything necessarily you want to do about your backlog, or is it just something that you've come to like a realization about?
We'll see.
And are you trying to wonder if it is an actual problem or not?
No, I don't think that. I think that at some point it was kind of a problem because like there was a point where every time I got paid, like I was going out to buy a game, right? And then
now every time you get paid, you're going out to buy a record.
Yeah, so I've traded that problem for another problem. But no, like I would go out, like I would go to GameStop or you know,
Game Over or anything like that.
And like I would go there with I would have no particular game in mind. I would just go there to buy a game, and like I actively refused to leave until I had a game in hand. And so I'm less like that now. I buy games less frequently, but you know, when I see games that are like on sale or anything like that, I'm like, well, I don't know when it's going to be on sale again, so I should probably buy it. Then I run into that and like, well, I bought it, and I'm going to probably install it and play it for a few minutes, but then I have this other game that I'm already really into, so who knows when I'm going to get into that game.
So there's something that you want to do about your backlog, or you just...
Yeah, I think that like I would like to make it a point to actually play through all these games.
Well, why don't you do something like what Sandy's doing and play at least 10 minutes of each of these games, and then if they catch your interest within 10 minutes, then you'll keep them, but if not, then you'll delete them.
Well, you remember that thing that I was doing for a little while where I would install a game and give it 30 minutes, and then I'd see if I hated it after that. But you know, but again, I think that there are a lot of games that like I really feel like deserve my attention, and now I'm at a crossroads because like I know that when Spider-Man comes out,
you're gonna drop everything.
And say that's the thing too is that like the biggest part, I think the biggest part of that impulse though, is wanting to be a part of that day one conversation. Like
no, because there is something about playing games day one.
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean, of course, there's the people who have been looking at online or have played a beta or an alpha or whatever,
yeah.
And they have like a better scope and a better understanding than others. But like everyone's kind of starting off like brand new. Everyone's finding out these discoveries. You don't feel like you're far behind necessarily anybody because like everyone's figuring it out.
Well, then that was also kind of the allure with the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne, because those games like nobody knows anything about those games before they come out. And so, like, everybody's just as clueless. Like, there's no guide, there's no game facts walkthrough or anything. It's just nobody.
Figure it out, bitch.
Yeah, and so it's really fun to watch that shit kind of take form, in real time. So I'm kind of at a crossroads with like games like Spider-Man and Red Dead, where, like, I'm wondering, like, you know, is the value in buying that game right away? Just does it stop at wanting to be part of that day one conversation, or can I just wait for a little while and like play through some other games before I buy these new ones? Because I feel like the concept of the backlog is something that everybody that I talk to who actively engages in video games, like they talk about their backlog all the time. There are even people who are tracking their backlog in apps and like watching it grow and grow. And I'm like, how do you do that? That sounds so fucking frustrating to like watch that get bigger. And
I think it's probably the same like sense of accomplishment or achievement whenever you collect things, like pop figurines or whatever. Like you see this grow and grow, but you're not really doing anything with them. But like you have them, and that's fun to say.
Yeah.
But like also like, if that's what you want to get your sense of accomplishment of, or like if that's your thing, awesome. But for me personally, the way that I view it is like, yes, I like collectible stuff. I like pretty shiny things. I like that. I like that I do have a small collection of certain items that like mean a lot to me, but all of those I've either used or that. Like I don't want anything that's not going to be of use to me. And learning where that line has like been a lot of trial and error and growing up. But like I just don't see a point in spending money and time on things that I can spend money and time on things better. Just because it's a good product doesn't mean it's a good product for me. And also like where are my priorities at? Because obviously I have multiple interests besides just video games, and those also take money and time. So it's just a balancing act. And for me, I have a very small backlog.
Yeah.
I just have more of things that I want to buy, but I have not yet because my money is going to either a wedding or booze.
And I have to, and sometimes I would wonder, like, am I?
Yeah, we took a whiskey break.
10 minutes actually passed between when I ended that sentence, and I actually don't even know what I was about to say.
Sometimes it makes me wonder.
I have no idea.
How you keep from going under.
Right.
Yeah. We're talking about backlogs, and I was saying that my backlog is small because I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't get myself to spend the money.
Open that door right there. And so I have one of those briefcases.
Oh my gosh, this is way heavier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, one of these briefcases is full of PS4 games.
What's the other one full? This one's not full.
Some other. So this is full of Xbox games.
This is PS4.
Yeah.
Why is Xbox so much heavier than this?
Because I have no of them. So.
The Divisions.
Yeah. Is there a way? Would you be able to hoist that and point it at show to the camera?
Oh man. Oh, that's not a good page. Okay, let's look at this page for both sides.
So, you got it. All right.
I don't know how in focus this is.
Probably not very. All right. So, actually, well, this is actually the Devil's Rejects. It's not an actual PlayStation game. But here's Dark Souls 3, Assassin's Creed 4. DMC. So I've actually finished every game on this page.
Nice.
I've actually played. Okay, I should say I've seen credits on every game on that page. Now I have Dragon Quest Heroes here. I've never finished this. I also have Dragon Quest Builders, which I've never finished. But I have Doom and Mortal Kombat X, both of which I've seen credits on each.
The first one is on here is Gladiator 2 Rage Burst.
I don't think I'm ever going to get back to that game. Honestly.
Yakuza?
Yakuza, I'm probably going to start Yakuza over. So I have Yakuza Kiwami in there.
I'm going to start putting the ones that you don't think you're ever going to finish.
So
here in the back.
So the reason that a God Eater is in there is because I wanted a Monster Hunter game. And Monster Hunter
World didn't exist.
Well, Monster Hunter, but when I actually got that game, Monster Hunter World wasn't even announced yet.
So Borderlands,
some
collection.
I played through Borderlands 2 a million times on 360. So
are you gonna play this anymore?
I might. So the Division's on there. I've actually never finished. I've never done the main storyline of that game, but I kind of want to revisit it. But I'm apprehensive, honestly.
Are you gonna replay Assassin's Creed Black Flag, DMC, or Dark Souls 3?
So Black Flag I probably will replay because of the Freedom Cry DLC. Because there's nothing more entertaining than shooting slave owners with a blunderbuss.
Fair point. By the way, I put apple juice in the whiskey. Pretty good.
Where did you get apple juice?
You have apple juice.
Okay. I don't know how old that apple juice is.
It said it was good until 2019. It was from concentrate.
Right. It keeps longer. So I have Dark Souls 3 here, which I adored. I've seen credits once on that game.
Are you gonna play it again?
I might.
All right, DMC.
Probably not anytime soon.
I'll put it in the back then.
Okay.
These are all the ones that you should probably sell or give away.
I don't know. DMC, Ninja Theory's Devil May Cry game is, in my opinion, the best game in the Devil May Cry franchise.
What about, obviously you're going to play Doom again. Mortal Kombat going to play again. Are you ever going to play any of these Dragon Quest games?
There's a higher likelihood that I will play Heroes again.
Builders?
Builders probably not. I probably will not.
Go into the back then.
Okay.
We're banishing them.
Maybe I did try to give away Builders at one point, but I don't.
Nobody wanted it.
No one wanted it. I don't know why, because it's not even a bad game. It's not for me, I think.
I feel like a lot of people feel like that. I feel like it's a niche audience.
Far Cry
4?
I finished that one.
Are you gonna play it again?
Probably.
7 Ways to Die?
7 Days to Die is actually a very garbage game, and I probably never play that again. So 7 Days to Die is kind of a it's Minecraft meets zombie survival, and it is a lot more lame than that sounds.
I have to fix these pages.
Yeah, these brackets are pretty garbage, but these cases are really cheap too.
So Diablo 3, probably.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing about Diablo 3 is that it is literally the only game in this case that I have a platinum for. So.
So probably on that.
Yeah. Because I am not rebuying that game for PC. I just refuse.
Well, Killing Floor 2.
I probably if I do play Killing Floor 2 again, it probably won't be on PlayStation because I have it on computer, and that version is more cool. That's one of the few cases when I feel like I'm able to say that.
So let's go into the back.
This is turning to be quite the productive episode.
The Last of Us, the first one.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna replay that again before Last of Us 2 comes out.
Yeah. Can you be the other one?
I thought it was gonna be Devil's Rejects again.
No, Devil's Rejects is by my boss.
Okay.
It's not a game. It's not a game we're touching here.
But I feel like I have so few Blu-rays that it belongs in here anyway. Because I purchased 2 Blu-ray movies in my entire life, and I've actually misplaced one of them. So
you're at 50%?
Yeah, I'm at 50% Blu-ray capacity.
Shadow Warrior.
I'm probably never playing Shadow Warrior again because it's racist.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
I will play that again because
Final Fantasy Realm Reborn.
I mean, can you really finish that game though?
Are you gonna play it again?
Are you
gonna buy the subscription and play it again?
I would like to think that one day I will, but I'm at this time uncertain. The funny thing about this is that these were in alphabetical order.
Oh, were they?
But who cares?
I didn't realize that's what you had.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't actually care.
It didn't seem like it.
So Yakuza, I probably will start Yakuza over.
Yeah, I figured that. My bad. I didn't seem like there was much of an organization system when Mortal Kombat comes before Doom.
Sure.
And Yakuza's on the front page.
Sure.
So Shadow Warrior, no. You're not gonna play again.
No.
Phantom Pain.
I will probably play again. In fact, there is a very high likelihood that I will revisit that game, but I will also, again, be starting it over because it's been 2 years.
A hot minute.
It's been 2 years since I played it, so.
Alright, so next up is Second Son.
Alright, so I finished that game.
Are you gonna play it again?
I think so because.
Really?
Well, here's the thing is that with the Infamous games, you have your good guy playthrough and you have your bad guy playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
I did my good guy playthrough and I didn't go back to it, and I actually kind of want to platinum that game because that game isn't bad. It's a little,
I know.
especially when it comes to
It's just like with how big your backlog is. Are you actually gonna play it again?
Yeah, and it is an open world game. I am gonna play it again. Probably not soon though. But it is a game that I intend to play through again.
So Shadow War.
Actually, I do think I'm gonna play through that again because of how I felt about Shadow of War. I don't know about how other people felt about Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor I felt like was just a much better experience.
What about Skylanders?
Skylanders I probably won't play again, specifically because 1, I don't have any of my Skylanders with me, and 2, how I feel about the fact that Skylanders is no longer a thing is kind of upsetting, so I probably won't revisit that game. Although, I will say this, that's Skylanders Switch Force, and that is actually something that Tom bought for me with part of his tax return that year, so I feel...
This is a Sega Dreamcast game.
That's a Dreamcast game that just kind of found its way into my PS4 game. That's, what is that, NFL 2K?
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably gonna play that later.
Yeah, at some point.
The Witcher 3, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna, after I finish the books, I will definitely be back to Witcher 3. But no, actually the funny thing is that after I finish the books, then I'll have to go through Witchers 1 and 2, and then I'll go back to Witcher 3.
The point is you're still gonna play it again.
I will play it again, yeah.
Why do these things not want to stay on this thing?
They're kind of garbage. But.
Yeah, they are. Tomb Raider.
I don't imagine that I'll be revisiting Tomb Raider again in the near future. I will probably play Rise of the Tomb Raider again soon.
Uncharted Collection.
I actually intend to play that again soon because I kind of actually want to platinum that.
Alright. Awesome.
I think is that it? No, I see some discs back here. That's Devil's Rejects. I think that's actually it.
As far as physical, just PS4.
Yeah,
so you're telling me, I'm going to go through them real fast, that you are definitely for sure, and just your physical PS4 only backlog, going to play Last of Us again, Yakuza, Borderlands Handsome Collection, The Division.
Wait, hold on with Borderlands. We're going to move Borderlands back, because I don't foresee myself playing Borderlands again in the near future.
Let's say within 2 years.
Maybe within 2 years, but I can't say for sure.
The Division.
The Division. So the thing about the games on this page. So we have The Last of Us and Yakuza and The Division. So the funny thing about this page specifically is because we have The Last of Us 2 coming out within the next year. We have Yakuza Kiwami, which every game up until 6 is coming out as an HD remaster for the PS4. So I feel like I just need to get through that. And then we have The Division 2, which is again another game that I think is going to be released in the next year. So
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Diablo 3, Far Cry 4, and Dark Souls 3. So the next 2 years, you're going to play each of these at least once.
So again with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the thing about that is the only thing I'm playing specifically is the Freedom Cry DLC. I probably won't be back to the base game anytime soon, considering the fact that Origins is, sorry guys, the superior game. Far Cry 4, probably because I love Far Cry, but I don't see myself buying Far Cry 5 anytime soon based on like what I know about that game. So Dragon Quest Heroes, I really want to get back to that game, and I certainly will, but I think reasonably soon. Mortal Kombat X. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't see myself revisiting Mortal Kombat X because I have a renewed interest in fighting games, but I just don't think Mortal Kombat is there.
Want to be one of them?
Yeah. I'm actually, after watching as much Street Fighter 5 as I've watched recently, I think Street Fighter might actually be the game that I find myself more interested in now.
And then Metal Gear Solid 5, Shadow of Mordor, The Witcher 3, and Second Son.
Yeah. Which is now, it's really funny putting it into perspective because it kind of is now kind of underscoring how many physical versions of these games of PS4 games that I actually haven't bought. Because now my digital collection is larger than my physical collection, I think. But now let's nail it down to games that I actually haven't finished. So
that you're gonna revisit.
So
that you haven't finished.
Right. So on this page we have Yakuza Kiwami and The Division. So neither game have I actually finished. Definitely going to revisit Yakuza Kiwami. I'm probably going to start that game over, which kind of sucks to say. But Diablo, I've platinumed Diablo 3. Let's see. As far as these games, again, this Realm Reborn is an MMO, and there's no. I mean, unless I don't know how people define having finished the MMO, but
I mean,
I feel like that's something that people define for themselves. That's really subjective.
Yeah, that's an outlier.
With Dragon Quest Heroes, though, I would like to actually come back to that because that is not at all a bad Musou, and I should actually finish that game because that's actually not a bad game at all.
Well, none of these I would say, are bad games.
Yeah, no, not at all. And again, see, that's the thing about my backlog is none of these games were games that I stopped playing because I didn't like them. Well, actually, that's not true because one of the games that's in there is Dragon Quest Builders, and I actually found myself not liking that game very much at all.
Sorry, since we went through all the games that you are going to, let's just revisit the ones that you have decided not again.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to change your mind. If you look at
this is a moral contract that I'm entering.
Yeah, I think if you are interested in cutting down your backlog, once you have cut something out, don't look back. Yeah. Because if you're like, oh, I forgot how good that game is. I can't believe I said I'm not going to do it. If you forgot, it's because it doesn't need to be in your backlog.
Well, because I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider.
I'm probably not going to play Mortal Kombat X again if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, these are the ones you're not going to come back to. Borderlands, the Handsome Collection, The Sega Dreamcast and NFL 2K.
I don't know when I'm gonna own it again.
Shadow Warrior, Skylanders, God Eater 2, Dragon Quest.
I'd like to point out, and I just feel like I need to point this out. Shadow Warrior is mechanically very well made, but that game is super racist, and I can't with it.
Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
DMC. Killing Floor 2, and 7 Days to Die. Killing Floor 2, we're only putting it because it's a PC. Like,
Right.
That one.
Actually, and it's funny thing because out of all these games that I will not be revisiting, 7 Days to Die is the only bad game in that bunch.
Yeah, but it's also, personally for me, hard to say that something's a bad game when someone has put so much time and effort into it.
Right.
And also, it's even worse when I know other people enjoy it, because I'm just like, okay, well then it can't be a bad game, because it's for somebody.
Well, like,
it's not about somebody.
Well, yeah, and I can never really...
Unless it's something like Ian's Eyes, or Hate,
or
Hatred, or...
Well, at the same time, okay, so it's funny that you bring that up, because, specifically with Hatred, right, because Hatred... Okay, so say far saying something is a bad game, it's subjective, right? And there are things that like I would claim to say that like there are certain games that are just objectively well made. Like I've maintained that I think that Doom, the 1993 game, I maintain that as a mechanically perfect video game. That's what I think. But now whether or not someone thinks it's a bad game, now that's when you get a little bit granular and it gets a little bit more subjective. Now, I would say Hatred is a game that I can't actually speak to, right? Because from a moral standpoint, I refuse to play it. With that being said, you pull that game up on Steam and it's got a mostly positive rating. And this is all user reviews. So
yeah, but also like if like 24-year-olds, all right, sorry, if 100 like 4-year-old children,
yeah.
Say that Barney is great.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same opinion from 100 adults.
Right. So
I mean, like, so it doesn't mean that it's good.
At the same time, you take that mostly positive rating that Hatred has on Steam, and you also have to take into account that the internet is a largely terrible place. So
and people love to troll.
So that I have to say that's part of it, right? But again, I can't actually critique the game because I've never played it. I just refuse to. But there are games that I just think have things that a lot of the time when I think that a game is bad, it's because I think that you play the game and you think, and it looks like it's like, well, this game is actively refusing to adhere to any kind of modern convention. For example, I many times have said that I hate Bound by Flame for different reasons, right? And one of those reasons is again, I'm talking about getting granular with it, but one of those reasons that I just don't like Bound by Flame is just mechanically speaking, I just think that game isn't. I think that game is kind of stuck in a. I don't know what generation I want to say that game is stuck in because, and this is where it gets really subjective because I'm somebody who always, with every game without exception, I will play with the y-axis inverted.
Yes.
Like every game,
and it doesn't let you.
And it doesn't let you. And Tom talks a lot about creators' intent, and I guess like on one level I have to respect that, but at the same time I have to also, it begs the question like why? Like why was that a decision that you made to omit that?
Like what does it change about the game that you're trying to create?
Because I think that creator's intent is very much about respecting the creator's vision, but it's like I feel like that.
No, but I'm saying like, why would adding the y-axis inverted change the creator's vision?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that like I feel like creator's intent is very much about a very specific vision, and I just don't think that a restrictiveness on the y-axis is going to have a bearing on whether or not that vision is realized.
Because it's.
But again, that's like that's kind of, but at the same time, that's interesting to me. That's kind of a nitpicky thing.
Speaking of nitpicky, what's the game that Tom was talking about? And I'm blanking on it. Where like the little boy, like as you begin the game, like he kind of toddles around, and the controls are not as responsive. And as like time goes on, and it gets like older, and people complained about the controls being janky, but they're supposed to be. I don't know. I just feel like if does creators' intent. Sorry, this is a little off topic of backlogs, but does creators' intent matter if people don't get what they're intending them to get? Like, just like we're talking The Last Guardian, and that people don't get that the controller is supposed to feel clunky because it's a child. Like, does the creator's intent matter in that aspect? Like, if they're not getting what they want conveyed to the audience?
Well, I think that's very much a case-sensitive thing because on one hand,
I can agree with that.
I think on one hand, like it kind of like I defer to like if you have to explain why a joke is funny, then it's not funny, right? But on another hand, if you explain,
but it doesn't really change it from being a joke though. Just because it's an unfunny joke doesn't mean it's not a joke.
Yeah, but then you get into the debate of the quality of the joke, right? Because
it can be poor quality jokes.
Well, like because then you get into like the level of intuitiveness, and I think that especially with today's games, then you think a lot about how intuitive is this game versus how accessible is this other game, and where the level of intuitiveness kind of fits directly into the creator's intent because we are trying the level of clunkiness with the controls in The Last Guardian very much has to do with putting yourself in a role of the awkwardness of childhood and negotiating an unfamiliar situation, which childhood is like. If you think about it, childhood is a lot of that, right? Where you're coming into that's why they call it your formative years because it's a lot of navigating through unfamiliar situations and not really knowing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And making mistakes as a result. And I think that there's a lot of people who played The Last Guardian and made mistakes as far as navigating the levels as a result of the way that the controls were mapped. So it's really a subjective thing because on one hand you can kind of appreciate like what is the creator of the game doing with making the controls a specific way. And on one hand, if I say, hey, look, I don't really like this, but then you explain it to me and then I'm like, oh, now I kind of get it and now I have a newfound appreciation for it. Rather than, look, I'm just looking at this as a video game and nothing else, and I feel like these controls are bad, and the fact that I can't change them makes it an unenjoyable experience to me, so I'm kind of going to bounce off of it. So when you go into video games like that, especially with the games that are so narrative heavy and so dependent on the world that they're building, then you have there isn't a lot of gradients between people who can appreciate the world that this game inhabits versus people who just see a game as nothing more than an diversion and something as just entertainment, right? So because you have people that fall into multiple camps where video games are concerned, and video games as they have, I don't want to use the term evolved because I think again evolved is very subjective, and I think as video games have changed.
Yeah, I would say grown.
As video games have changed over the past 40 years or so, I think that I think that developers have gotten very much into the idea of trying to do what they can to make games as accessible to as wide an audience as they can because that's just good business sense. But
it's also like, obviously, like most mediums and art forms, like they are trying to convey a message and want that audience to get it. Like obviously there's niche stuff where it's like, I don't care if you get it, like either you are or you're not. But like, I mean, besides a business sense, but also like if you put your time and heart and soul and you have this like amazing idea too, and you put it out there, like you want people to appreciate and enjoy it as well. And I think like having that in mind is not just a business sense, but also like something that they probably think of as well.
Well, sure, but then you think about the people who put all their hearts and minds and souls into making the story of Mass Effect 3. And then to make it more to broaden its appeal and appease the masses, they changed it. Creators I think that a game, the way that people think of a good and a bad game is there's such a large gray area because you have there are so many different cases where maybe a game started as bad and then it became good over time, or maybe the game was always good but then people didn't appreciate the nuance in that game, and then you go into a deeper rabbit hole of people saying, well, you just don't understand it. and you just don't get it. Like that's like when you like someone watches a certain movie, right? And the movie is like really weird and kind of abstract, and then you say something like, "Well, I didn't really like it because like this was confusing," and then you have the other person who like totally gets it, and then they say, "Well, you just didn't understand it. That's why you didn't like it." And if I explain it to you, then maybe you'll like it.
Yeah, that's all from like not even just like medias, or,
Right?
like instead you're taking in. That's like also a lot of things. And P.S. That phrase never helps anybody understand it. Like there's a couple abstract movies I like, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't like it." I'm like, "Oh, like I didn't know if you knew this before getting into it." But like when I watched it, like I had a preface of like, and I'll like tell them what like somebody else told me before I get into the movie, or I'll ask them, "Well, why did you not?" And then whatever points they have, some like I like to argue, so like I try to make counterpoints. I'm like, "Oh, well, like actually, like this thing," I was like, "I can see why you don't like that, but like." Have a discussion about it. Don't just fucking shut people down.
Well, then but then you're gonna complicate it even more, right? Because then you have people's like, well, I don't want that. I want this game to be what it is, and that's it. And I don't want any.
But then don't say it's bad. Just say you don't like it. Like.
Well, see, and it's that, and then you go into the conversation of like, why are those two things interchangeable for so many people? And they shouldn't be, but they are, right?
But it could be. I mean, yeah, I'm saying that, but also on the counterpoint of my own argument. Like, bad is subjective. Just because something's bad to me doesn't mean it's bad to you. I mean, I guess it's the same point.
Well,
but bad just feels so definitive. To say that something I like is bad, it just like it feels so, like personally hurtful. Where I'm just like, don't say it's bad. You can say you don't like it.
Well, I find myself falling into that trap too sometimes, where I will find myself getting personally defensive about something, and I was like, well, I didn't make this. So I like this.
And also, this thing doesn't define me as a person
so
or
like,
my life.
Well, like, and especially lately, I defer to No Man's Sky a lot, right? Because like, I didn't make that game, right? But at the same time, I have an appreciation for what kind of work went into it, and like, I'm detaching it from like the misdirection and the outright lies that were told, and I'm just going based on like the work that went into making the game itself. And you have the case where, you know, whether the game was bad or not is subjective, versus whether the
marketing and the description.
Because I think that it's one of those things where it's not about whether the game is bad or not. It's based about whether we got what we thought we were promised. And I think that for different people that was different, because I've said many times before that the experience that I got was exactly what I expected, versus the experience that other people got was the opposite of what they expected. And then so like it gets to the point where, especially where the criticisms of media are concerned, everything is just so subjective. And I guess we could talk about mechanics in video games as an objective thing, but like then again, mechanics of video games become such a big part of creators' intent. Case in point, Last Guardian, where the actual mechanics of the game, whether you enjoyed them or not, were part of the creator's vision. So like, then what is bad, right? Like, so what is like, is it a bad game because you didn't enjoy it, or is it a bad game because it was designed poorly? And is it designed poorly in an objective sense, or is it designed poorly just because you didn't like it? So, like...
just to bring the conversation back around. I
also feel like Last Guardian is a game that I probably wouldn't have finished for years at a time, because then you think about... Because Eco...
I feel like Last Guardian, whenever I do buy it, will probably take as many years for me to finish it as it was to make it. So I
bought, so funny thing about Eco, right, is that I bought Eco in 2002. And I didn't actually finish that game until 2015. And it wasn't because that game was long or especially difficult, it's just, I just never finished it. And it was that game was in my backlog for 14, 15 years.
I mean, I bought Oblivion pretty shortly after it came out. And I still have yet to finish it. You're good with dates. When did that game come out?
2006.
Okay, it's 12 years later. Have not finished it.
So now that's the thing. So then it becomes the thing about open world games, right? Because that's why I never finished The Witcher 3, because it gives you so much shit to do. And now
So I've been playing. Sorry to cut you off. But like, obviously, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
there
is really
is
not an open world game, is it?
What?
Well, is Kingdom Hearts like?
I think it technically could be classified for it. So there's the actual storyline, but you can go around to the other things.
Okay.
For the most part, some things like until you do something in a storyline, the rest of the part doesn't open up.
Right.
But before you beat the boss, you can go do all of these side quests and like small things. They're not like really side quests, but they're like achievements. And there's things in the game. There's collectibles. There's like a synthesis thing. And so to do the synthesis stuff, like you have to go back to a certain world.
So there are distractions from the main storyline.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it has open world aspects to it. I don't think you can really say it's an open world game, but like. To get through to where I can beat all of the games, I have pinpointed a couple things I'm going to focus on besides the main storyline, like which is for me treasures and stickers, and I'm only going to do those, like all of the like ice cream shit, all the synthesis shit, all those things I'm going to ignore so I can get through these fucking games before that, because that's the thing, like you have to fit, like for me personally, I have to like get through a game so it's not just stuck in my backlog. I have to not care about certain aspects of it, like Super Mario or Super Mario Odyssey. I decided to not care about the fact that I'm not going to get to the dark side of the moon. I'm not going to go get all those stars. It's not what I'm going to do. Some of them are real hard, and I'm not good at platforming, and I try my best. I'm not going to get them. It's fine. I will just not do that and like have to make myself okay with that. And I feel like when you have to force yourself to not care about certain aspects of the game, there is some of the enjoyment taken out of it, but it also does make it easier to finish a game.
Well, see, and it's funny because
for me personally, because I'm a completionist.
I bought Arkham Knight the year that it came out. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham series. I love Batman, but so this is what turned me off about it, and this is what turned me off about a lot of games of that type. Is that okay? So, like I was saying, I bought Arkham Knight the year that it came out, and with a lot of the one thing that game has remained in my backlog for as long as that game has been out, and here's the thing about it is that you have the ending that you have if you go through the main storyline, you just go through it, and then you have the true ending that you get after you get all the Riddler trophies, which like. Look, if someone is into getting the Riddler trophies, great. Fine.
Oh, they're so annoying.
But like
it's at a point where like I've been to the point with the Riddler trophies. I'm like, I can't. I'm done.
Well, that's the thing about it is because like for me personally, like I get the accomplishments that someone would feel after there's a Riddler trophy that's just really tough to figure out, and then you finally get it, and that's great. But like the reward center of my brain doesn't light up that way, and I'm driven that way.
It lights up for a brief period. But then my brain is immediately onto the next trophy after that. And then like it's like, alright, cool, got this done, awesome. Now I have 20 more to go.
Well, and then there's a part of it is just that like it kind of just takes me out of the experience, right? Because I just like Batman being like the world-class detective that he is, that's great and everything, but like
I'm not a world-class detective.
Well, yeah, and then like there's no way for me to like reliably track that stuff. To like know which Riddler trophies have I gotten, like which Riddler trophies do I need to get, and it's because the world is so big that it's just like it's not fun for me, and like hiding the true ending behind something so obtuse like that is just like I'm not into it, and so I feel like am I gonna finish Arkham Knight? Maybe. I already feel like I know what the twist of that game is. Like I already feel like I know who the Arkham Knight is. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who hasn't figured it out yet. But at the same time, it's like I just don't feel like as much as I love the Arkham games so much, but I just feel like Arkham Knight is just gonna sit in my backlog forever.
Yeah.
Or I will go through the main story. I'm not gonna bother with the Riddler trophies, and I'll just YouTube the true ending, which is like.
That's what I do for Kingdom Hearts series, because if you do it on a harder difficulty, then you are going to be more likely because there's like multiple levels of difficulty. There's like 5 or 4. I think there's 5. But the harder you do it, the more likely you are to unlock all these scenes.
Right.
And I decided, whenever I was going to go on this adventure, that I was going to say, fuck doing it on harder difficulty. And making this even longer for myself because I thought that I thought naively and hopefully, I knew it wasn't probably gonna happen, but I had the hope there. It was gonna come out this year.
Yeah.
And
how stupid of you.
I know. Well, I've held hope for like, I don't know, 10 years now, so.
Sure.
Sorry, my voice is going for a second. But yeah, no, I've had the hope, so I was like, alright, well, I can't do these harder difficulties and still, like, do the collectibles that I want to do, because I originally planned to try and do all the synthesis stuff and all these other extra stuff.
Right.
And I quickly had to cut that out. Because I realized it's, like, I've spent way too long on one game. So, I think that, like, after I get done with this playthrough of everything, it's gonna be a long time till I play through them again. But yeah, I can't do the larger things. So I just have been looking at like bonus scenes online. But like with doing it now and looking at other games that are coming out, and I know that they have stuff similar to that because it's not like Kingdom Hearts is unique in that aspect. Like I think I'm gonna start doing that more often. Is just like do it on a normal difficulty and not stress myself out just because I'm bad at stuff.
I also think that like there's a certain level,
and it adds it to my backlog, and it adds like, and I just like, I don't have a large one now, especially compared to like you and Tom, but I also am more picky about stuff and less willing to give certain things a chance, which isn't good in a lot of aspects because there's a lot of cool games that like I have seen through you guys and that you've introduced me to. Like I would have never played Enter the Gungeon. Or Guacamelee without either of you.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, this looks like it could be a waste of money, and definitely I've been more open-minded, but I still like I just can't pull the trigger.
Well, it certainly could be a waste of money if that's not your kind of game, right? And
I mean, yeah, but still like I don't know if it's gonna be my game until I play it. But like I also just don't want to spend.
Yeah, but like you know whether or not you like twin stick shooters, and you know whether or not you.
I'm not good at them, but
right.
But like I feel like I have the capacity to enjoy them.
I'll be honest with you, I have not finished Enter the Gungeon. I just Googled the ending for every character because I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I do that, and I do that a lot with also book series.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my book backlog and comic book backlog are a lot higher than my video game backlog.
Yeah.
Because it's way easier to get those for free. And
yeah, we got two people in our Discord right now who are discussing what happens in the Witcher games in detail, and it's kind of irritating me.
Oh, who?
Corey, Sandy, knock it off with the spoiler talk.
Yeah. I'll go in for the first time in a week and,
sure.
and go yell.
But like the thing, but like what I hate is the idea of hiding like a true ending behind some kind of harder difficulty or extra challenge, because like some people just have a skill ceiling. And it just sucks, like...
Your 7-year-old's not going to play expert mode and be good at it.
Yeah.
Just let them... I mean, granted, they're also not going to get what's going on in Kingdom Hearts because they're 7 years old, and I'm 27, and I still have a hard time. But, like... But book stuff... Like, there's a lot of series that I've started reading, and I'm just like, I can't devote any more time reading this.
Right.
I'm going to go Wikipedia, all the summary stuff, and just be done with it, because there is that sense of, with me personally, if I started it, I should finish it. And I feel guilty about not finishing games and just putting them back, but I shouldn't. I am a growing, changing person all the time, and just because I was interested in something once doesn't mean I have to be interested. Just because I put energy into something doesn't mean it matters.
The funny thing about it is that like it's like people already, like developers, publishers, and like we already know that like a lot of people don't finish games. And there's a lot of content in a lot of games that people just don't see, and that sucks because there's a lot of content in games that's like really, really good. Like I started so Mafia 3, a game that I purchased on Xbox One, was one of the PlayStation Plus free games this month, and I downloaded that, and I was like, why did I never finish that game? That game is exactly the kind of game that I want. Why did I never finish it? And I kind of just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm actually gonna finish this game this time around. That is a bunch of DVDs I have in there. Some PC games, mostly Xbox though.
Oh, I thought you meant like Xbox One. But
well, no,
I think OG Xbox.
No, there's OG Xbox, and I think I have. See, no, because there's some Xbox One games in here too. There might be some 360 games there too, but But see, that's another thing too. Is like if you want to go like into the realm of my backlog, it goes deeper than current gen. Like I've never finished this. Like Mech Assault 2, I've never finished that. I never finished Enter the Matrix. I never finished Kill Switch. I never finished Under the Reckoning Redeemer. I never finished Full Spectrum Warrior. I never finished Gears of War 4, which is current gen. I did finish Freedom Fighters.
Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Is that what is that?
That's a remastered version of Gears of War 1.
What?
Okay.
You should let me borrow it so I can finally get into Gears of War.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's gonna be like Tom and his Vita thing.
I never see, and there's another game in here too, right? I have. Wait, hold on.
Did you finish Sneak King?
I mean, you play one level, you play them all. I feel like. Sudeki, I never finished that. I never finished. So here's a Tenchu game in here. Tenchu Return from Darkness. I never finished that. There's like I have to say most of the games in this box I have never finished.
Well, I mean,
but also,
to be fair,
most of those games were also purchased when I was in my early 20s. I don't think that one closes all the way.
Well, I can get it.
There you go. Most of those games I purchased when I was in my early 20s, so.
I mean, it is, but it's also a lot of different things because I don't feel like adding backlogs of like books, comic books, movies, games, whatever have you, and like you say like late teens, early 20s. Really necessarily counts because you're also spending a lot of time and energy trying to figure out where you want to go in life, who you are as a person.
I spent zero energy figuring that out.
Well, also just figuring out who you are, figuring out what your feelings mean, figuring out what social interaction stuff is, and just kind of figuring out what your world scope is. And so that takes up a lot of time and energy, which I think is fine to add things to your backlog and never go back to them because, like, you are no longer that person that bought that game.
Yeah, I guess that's fair too, but also.
And if you're in your late teens or late 20s and you're listening to this,
I'm
not talking bad about it. Like, you're in an exciting point of your life.
Yeah.
And
someone would say the best part.
Yeah. And
it's
like,
all downhill from there.
Give yourself a break. If you fuck up or if you add a fuck ton of shit to your backlog that's actually really good content, it's okay to never touch it again. You're okay. It's fine.
Yeah. It's funny.
Don't feel bad about it.
Well, like now that I think about it, like my video game tastes have. They've changed slightly in the past decade, and I think that I am more driven towards single-player narrative-focused games. But the games that I bought 10 years ago, I still think are very cool. Like we saw.
No, that's fine.
Like there's Mech Assault 2 in there, which I never finished, but that game is badass.
Sneak.
I didn't buy that. I got that as a gift. But
yeah, because it was 10 cents, and someone doesn't like you very much.
Well, you could just buy them at Burger King. Well, actually, our friend Jimmy bought me that game.
What's up, Jimmy?
And that game it's not great, but the first couple levels are entertaining. But there are a lot of games that I like. For example, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That game came out 13 or 14 years ago. And I can still go back to that game and be like, this game is pretty cool. But at the same time, like, there are games in there like Sudeki that I bought, which was an Xbox, the original Xbox exclusive RPG, which in hindsight is not a good game. But like, like Ryan in his 30s would not look at Sudeki and be like, that game looks great. Whereas Ryan in his early 20s was like, yeah, that game looks pretty, it's alright. So I think Sudeki, again, is another game that will remain in my backlog forever, in perpetuity, because I will never revisit that game.
I mean, maybe we need a different term than backlog, because I feel like there's...
Because backlog implies that you need to get to it at some point.
Yeah, I feel like video game graveyard should be the thing.
Well, see, I think that they should be I think that they should be two different things. Because you have your backlog and then you have your graveyard. The graveyard is games that you will never go back to.
What about video game age? Alright, what about video game age limit? Where it's just like after a certain year or like point in your life, like say like you get married or like you do something with your life or you get a better job or whatever, you're just probably never going to go back to that because it's not like what you're into. Normally, like things like that is like MMOs or like RPGs that just take up too much of your time or it's like your new life schedule doesn't fit to. I don't know what to call it besides video game age limit, but we need another term.
Statute of limitations. I
Your
don't know.
your video game statute of limitations. That sounds good.
Statute. Not statute of limitations. Okay, so the interesting thing about with like Megasoul 2 is that was a largely multiplayer focused game, but the original iteration of Xbox Live no longer exists, so I can't play that game multiplayer anymore. But that would at present that would only bother me if I was worried about achievements that I can no longer get, which that game predates achievements. So, you know, I guess I could go back and finish that game and like go to the story and say I finished it, but to what end? Mm-hmm. And like it would also require extra effort on my part, right? Because I don't know that I can play that game on Xbox One or not. I guess I could just put it in my Xbox One and find out, but
Google it.
Sure. I feel like it would take less time to just put the disc in there. But you know, I have so many of these original Xbox games that I just never finished. Like now that I think about it, I never finished Max Payne Part 2, which again is another game that it didn't stop playing because it was bad. I just got distracted with something else. But again, that was also part of my life where I was buying a new game every 2 weeks, regardless of whether or not I had a game in mind.
So I guess to like book in the conversation. If you think your backlog is a problem, then it is one.
They call the number at the bottom of the screen. There's no number.
Hit me up. Probably more likely to reach me on Twitter than anything else.
And send Shanee all your games that you're not playing so she can play them.
Ask me for advice. I'll tell you how to clean it out.
Shanee is not a licensed therapist.
Oh no, I'm not licensed in anything. Oh wait, actually, I do have a license for security. I have really good security clearance.
Okay, she'll keep your games safe.
But like, yeah, if you think it's a problem, then it is. And if you don't think it's a problem, then it's probably not, unless it's financially hurting the rest of your life. And
it's hard to say whether or not people will consider it to be a problem because they always say it in like a half-joking tone.
But I mean, like, if you genuinely feel bad about it, then like you shouldn't.
Every time I've seen a post about backlog, it always ends with LOL.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you feel like it's a problem and you wanna do something about it, you probably should. And if you don't think it's a problem and it's not affecting the rest of your life, then it's not. Yeah, like, you know, they exist in all media forms, not just video games. And
I feel like it's easier to get through a movie backlog than a video game backlog, though.
Maybe. I don't watch movies, so that's not like on my spectrum. I can't speak on that.
I will just say this: most movies are 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah, I don't got time for that.
Right.
I have too many other hobbies.
Right. Like puzzles.
I don't love puzzles. Well, I can do puzzles and watch TV shows, which are only half hour long.
Yeah.
Not the point.
You have a puzzle backlog?
Nope.
Okay.
I only buy them to play them.
Okay.
Though I do have a Lego set backlog, so that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's a good book in it. Backlogs are fine. They genuinely are. It's okay that you have one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it just seems like so many people are bothered by the presence of one, which, I mean, the way that I think you should think of it is like, look at all these games that you have to play, right? Like if your backlog is large enough, you would never be at a point where you don't have games to play.
Or look at all these games that you have come across in your way of growing up, or doing whatever in your life. I like looking at old pictures and looking at old books that I've read that I won't read again or pick up again because I stopped them. And it's just nice to see where you were at that point.
Yeah.
Feel nostalgia about it, move on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm also still the kind of guy that will play Duke Nukem 3D though. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I play old games.
I've changed 0% in that regard.
I play Speed Free and that like Spaceballs pinball, so every now and then, so it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm Shanee Howard. This is Ryan Robinson.
That's who I am.
If you want to see us on any other platforms, we have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You obviously can listen to us or watch us on whatever platform you're using.
I will not forget to upload the audio version this time.
Yeah, he did that. He felt real bad about it. He's sorry.
I didn't feel that bad about it.
No, he was crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on what are we on? iTunes, Podomatic, Pornhub, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube's.
Basically every podcast provider that isn't
except for Spotify.
That isn't Spotify.
Yeah, no, not Spotify.
And we are on YouTube and what else?
I said Pornhub once.
Okay.
I think I might have said it twice.
Sure.
Granted, we've been drinking Jameson, but it's fine. But yeah, we love you. Talk to us if you want to. Don't talk to us if you don't want to. It's whatever.
Talk to Shanee specifically.
Yeah, I reach out to me because I'm really bad at reaching out to other people.
Yeah. Her phone number will be in the description of this episode.
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Sure.
Bye, guys.